how you're breathing. Into the stomach, coming into the chest area. Just notice. And as you're checking in, I invite you to do a body scan from the top of the head down towards the toes, noticing any areas of tension, any niggles. And then checking in with you. How are you feeling today? Any cares, concerns? Just let them float away to the mat beside you, the floor beside you, or let them go completely. And then returning your awareness to the breath. I forgot what I was going to say. And try to start doing the 3-part breathing that we were doing. Breathing it into the stomach, holding it for a second, breathing into the main part of the chest, then into the very upper part of the chest. It goes into the collarbones. And then one long, slow exhale out. And just repeat that breath, going into stomach, chest, the upper chest, for a few rounds. We're going to do some moon salutations today because it was a full moon yesterday. So I thought we would explore the moon salutations. We'll break it down and then maybe take it into a bit of a flow. Just allow your breathing to return to normal. We'll start by hugging the knees in towards the chest. Give them a good hug in. We'll start by taking each hand on each knee, with the fingers kind of pointing towards the feet. Just take both knees in some circles. Make the circles small to begin with. So keeping the knees together and taking both knees in circles. Massaging the lower back. Just notice how that feels in the body. Notice how the lower back feels. Notice whether it's being open to the shoulders, the arms. Take those circles a bit bigger if you wish to. What happens in the body when you take them a bit bigger? And then coming back to centre, take those circles the other way, starting with small circles. Again, just feeling into the body, noticing how it feels within the body. Where do you feel it in the body? It's generally the awareness we try to keep as we go through yoga. We try to connect to the body, feel how a pose feels as we're in the pose. Make those circles a little bit wider, or bigger even. Lovely stuff. And then bring the knees back in towards the chest. We're going to separate the knees now and take them in circles separately. Again, taking those circles quite small to begin with, and gradually making them bigger. Going into the hips, releasing the hips, making the hips move. You can either keep the feet together or keep the feet separated. And then, of course, as with everything in yoga, you need to take those circles the other way. Take the knees in towards each other and then separate them out. Bring them back up towards the body. And then just find some stillness. With the knees in towards. Taking the feet skyward. Just allow the legs to hang there for a little bit. And we'll start pointing and flexing the feet. Then stretch from the front of the legs down and then down the back of the legs. Noticing whether it starts to fire up the core, just having the legs hanging here. Maybe taking the feet into circles at the moment if you like. While the legs are just hanging here. Then on the next exhale, hug the knees in towards the chest. I'm going to take a bit of the flow here. So on an inhale, straighten the legs up into the air. Exhale, knees in towards the chest. Inhale, feet go skyward. Exhale, knees in towards the chest. Just keep doing this at your own breathing pace. So inhaling the legs up. Exhale, knees in towards the chest. You might want to get the arms involved if you want. So on each inhale, as you straighten the legs in the air, you take the arms overhead. And exhale, arms come down towards the sides. Helps to release the shoulders a little bit. Challenge. The next step is to kind of lift the pelvis up an inch. Like rock the pelvis up every time you take the legs overhead. Take them overhead. And that really starts to fire the core on. That makes sense. Fire the core on? No, that's So you're basically kind of almost trying to encourage the legs to kind of go over the head, but not so far you do actually do a backward roll. And just Feel how that feels in the body. Do it if you want to. Don't do it if you don't want to. My hip is starting to scream at me. A few more. And the next time, bring the knees into the chest, make that the last one. Give a good hug. And then, right, rock and roll front to back a couple of times. That sounds like we do this. Massage all the way down the length of the spine. Sound effects included. So if you fancy doing sound effects, please join me. Once we see this, you okay? On an inhale, raise the arms overhead. Exhale, twist round towards the right. Left arm comes to right knee, right hand behind. Inhaling, lengthening through spine, exhaling, taking this twist a little bit deeper if you wish to. Making sure we're not kind of taking all our weight into that hand behind us. We want an upright spine. Really want to kind of be able to be here in this twist and be able to kind of remove the hands without unraveling. Inhale, come back through the center. And we'll go to the other side. Inhaling, lengthening through the spine. Exhaling, taking a twist. Taking the gaze towards the back shoulder. So your gaze can be anywhere kind of in between front of you and the back shoulder, depending on how open the neck is. Inhale, come back through the center. Now the next thing I've got on here, don't quite understand how we were supposed to get from where we were to that. But never mind. Before we do that, let's do get the legs out in front of us. Do a bit of a leg stretch. So have the feet out long, toes pointing up towards the ceiling, so the feet are flexed. Inhale, raise the arms overhead. Exhale, we're going to fold over those legs. Allow the hands to come to the thighs, shins, toes if you can get the toes. But we want the heart open, kind of shining towards the feet, so we're not rounding through the back. We've got a nice open chest, shoulder blades kind of down and away from the ears. It doesn't matter how far you bend because this is quite an intense stretch. I'm going to use that word instead of nice. Everybody looks really uncomfortable. So this is Dandasana. Well, this isn't. This is a forward fold of Dandasana. Coming back up to seated, we'll just take you through Dandasana, which is just sitting here, feet flexed. So as soon as we flex our feet, those are your calves. They're engaged, thighs engaged. Inhale, lengthen up through the spine. Exhale, just allow the shoulders to drop down and below. Hands come to the mat, palms on the floor. Dandasana, like Tadasana, really hard. It's just a seated pose, and actually you're being asked to engage everything in the body. So again, feel how it feels in the body. Whether the thighs are starting to shake. Glad it's not just me. And then relax out. But there's no transition written down. So come up into a squat. Have the feet at least mat distance apart. So you can bring the elbows on the inside of the knees. Palms together. Lovely. Maybe use those elbows to encourage the knees out if your hips are going to let you. Listen to those hips. Absolutely fine. Yeah. So if your feet don't get to the floor, doesn't matter. I've got some blocks if you want to try blocks. You can... Are you all right?
Did you get them to the floor?
It's super hard. Come on. You don't have so if the heels don't quite come to the floor, get a block or something underneath them. Likewise, kind of with the hips. So if the hips kind of feel super uncomfortable, get a block. In fact, I'll get a block. You can come out. It's uncomfortable.
Oh yeah. If you make them a bit wider,
Yeah.
down.
That's the
Is
other
that
thing.
okay?
Yeah, the other thing I was going to say is get them wider. Because my feet are at least mat distance apart. If I bring them in any closer, I'm going to start struggling.
Right, so it is just so.
So yeah, but also get a block underneath your hips. So you're kind of sitting on a block, but it's supporting you. Get a block underneath the heels, so you're bringing the floor up to you. Would you like a block? No. I've got plenty. So yeah. When I say kind of feel how it feels in the body, feel how it feels. If it feels uncomfortable, adjust it. Bring those feet wider. Get a block. There's absolutely no shame in using blocks. You need to use blocks. Bring the floor up to you. Do what helps you in the pose. And that's why we kind of do the breathing exercise at the beginning. So it's to tune in to see where we are coming from each time so that we can practice according to how our body feels. And if the body doesn't like any pose, we adjust it. Yeah. Who else is feeling really uncomfortable? I actually quite like hanging out here. Just me. Okay. So bring the hands to the floor. This isn't frog pose. It does look like a frog. Frog pose is actually pretty hard on the hips. Frog pose is this. When you get your arms down, and oh my life, you need super open hips for that. I don't understand how that's a frog as opposed to garland pose, but you know. So the Sanskrit for this one is Malasana, garland pose. From here, bring the hands to the floor and bring the hips up high, so you're coming into a forward fold, and then just walk the feet in to about hip distance apart. And let's just hang out in a forward fold, bend those knees so you can get full contact ribs and thighs, and allow the arms to drape, allow the head to hang loose. And then from here, bend the knees really generously, push through the feet, not standing with as flat a back as possible. So I ask you to kind of bend the knees and push through the feet. So we're using leg strength to come up standing. Want to avoid kind of putting any undue pressure in the back as we come to standing. I've finally got warm. So once we're standing, have the feet about hip distance apart. Bring the hands to prayer position, heart center. On an inhale, raise the arms overhead. Bring the hands together overhead. Take the gaze up towards the thumbs if you wish to. Inhale, lengthen, so really try to allow the ribs to kind of stretch out, separate out. I bet there's probably another inch in your stretch. Really feel that stretch. And as always, when we're stretching, keep the shoulders away from you. So we're engaged but relaxed. Inhale, lengthen a little bit more. And then exhale, take both hands together over towards the right hand side. It doesn't matter if you go the wrong way, go. And just feel that stretch down the left hand side. Nice, right? Everybody looks the same. Inhale, come back up to center. And then exhale, take two. keeping the legs and the hips where they are, so don't let that hip pop out. Let that stretch is nice and intense. Inhale, come back up. Exhale, hands down. Shake it all up. My legs fall. So, coming back to parent position, heart center. Inhale, raise your arms overhead. And let's inside. Let's stretch over to one side. Inhale, come back up. And exhale to the other side. And exhale, fold forward, hinge at the hips and knees as bent as you need them to be. Inhale, bring the hands to the shins, chest comes forward, so we're coming into a flat back position. Exhale, fold. Bend the knees, push through the feet, come up standing with a flat back, arms overhead. And exhale. Inhale, sweep the arms overhead. Exhale, fold, hinging at hips. Let's keep our legs straight this time. So we've hinged from the hips, keeping the back straight, not rounding too much through the back. We're just getting a nice stretch all the way down the backs of the legs. So we're effectively coming into kind of when we bring the chest up, hands are on the shins or the thighs, wherever. Exhale, fold a little bit more, bend those knees. And then on an inhale, push through the feet, come up standing, arms overhead, and exhale. Do a couple more of those just to get nice and warm. Inhale, arms overhead, exhale, fold, hinging at the hips, knees as bent as you need them to be. Inhale, hands come to shins, chest comes forward. Exhale, fold. Inhale, bend the knees, push through the feet, come up standing. Arms overhead and exhale. Lift. Inhale, arms overhead. Inhale, chest comes forward, flat back position. Exhale, fold. Inhale, push through the feet. Come up, standing, arms overhead. And exhale. Lovely. Down. Try to keep the feet about hip distance apart. Take a step back with your left foot. So just allowing it to kind of fall as it falls. Swim the arms forward and around and back. And then either bring hands to that position, palms facing up, palms facing down, or grab elbows, whatever is easiest for you. So the aim of doing that, I'm just doing same swimming. And the aim of this is to keep the spine in as neutral a position as possible, because we don't want to round through the back. I was about to say bend the back, but you can't really bend the back. Inhale, legs up through the spine, over the chest. Exhale, we're going to fold over that front leg, keeping it nice and straight. So you are going to feel our super intense stretch here. So fold only to where it feels comfortable for you. If it is pinging behind the knee, so where the hamstrings are, lift up a little bit. If you've got your hands in prayer position, make sure the palms are facing, plus the back needs to be straight before we take that forward fold. Lovely. How's that feel? You feeling it? So also when we're here, make sure the legs are engaged, so the thighs are pulling up. You want to make it even more intense, try to kind of edge that right thigh back a little bit, so you're really squaring the hips off. Made a difference? Yep. Bend the front knee, push through the foot, come up. Release the arms. Sorry, I don't release them. You're basically in your warrior one position. Bring that left leg forward, and we shall do the same to the side. So take a step back with your right foot, Again, just kind of making sure that the feet are hip distance apart. And also in Warrior One, we like feet hip distance apart. So let's go swimming. Arms forward and then come back. Palms of hands together if you're taking prayer position, or hug the elbows. It might be easy to hug the elbows if the hands don't want to come together. Inhale, lengthen through the spine, open the chest, and exhale, fold over that front leg, keeping it straight. So we're getting a super intense stretch all my life. That leg feels it. There is often a difference in between each side of the leg, each side of the leg, each side of the body. Bodies are not symmetrical. So go to kind of where you start feeling that stretch, and it's the old saying, go to your edge. And deep breaths, so the body knows that we're doing exactly what we want it to do. Bend that front knee, push through the foot, come up and release the arms, come back standing. So pyramid pose, which is what we've just done, is one of the ones that we do during the Moon Salutations. We'll go through it really slowly because it doesn't flow like Sun Salutations, and I want it to, so it annoys me. Taking a wide step out on your mat. Doesn't matter which way you are. I'm going to turn to face you so you can see what I'm doing. Have feet, so pivot on the heels, have the toes pointing towards the corners of the mat. So you kind of want a better way to say it, they're at a 45-degree angle. We're going to go into goddess pose, so bend the knees, come into a higher squat than what we were doing earlier. I'm readjusting my leggings because I'm beautiful. Making sure the knees are over the ankles, and you can see the big toe beyond the knee. So we kind of say that in case knees are starting or legs are starting to kind of cave in. We always want to be able to see the big toe beyond the knee. Bring hands to cactus, well, arms to cactus arms, so elbows are shoulder height. Lower arms pointed up. And I've just realised I'm really long with it. Sorry. Try to kind of tuck the tailbone under, so we're not kind of keeping the bum kind of pointing outwards. Yeah. It's a glute, it's a thigh workout. Feeling it in the upper thigh? Yeah. Yep. How long can we stay here? Oh my gosh, the looks. Not supposed to get death looks in yoga, am I? Straighten your legs, arms out wide. Take a big breath. And exhale. Well done. Goddess pose, everybody. Now come back to facing short edges of your mat. So, in fact, actually, it would probably make more sense if we are facing the long edge of the mat as we go through Moon Salutations. I'm going to do it facing the short edge, but that's just because so I can feel. So we begin with our feet hip distance apart. Bring the hands to prayer position, heart center. Let's just take a big deep inhale and exhale. Prepare ourselves to Moon Salutations. Inhale, sweep the arms overhead. Bring the hands together above. Inhale, lengthen up. Exhale, stretch over to one side. Take both hands over towards the right. And then on an exhale, take the feet out wide, toes pointing towards the short edges of the mat. Come down into the squat, come into your cactus arms, go into goddess pose. Lovely stuff. We'll take a couple of breaths here. Making sure we tuck the tailbone slightly. Taking it deeper if you want to take it deeper. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's a good one to feel it everywhere in the legs. On an inhale, straighten the legs, straighten the arms into star pose. Lovely. We'll take a couple of breaths here too. Good. So, bring the arms to shoulder height. Point your right toes towards the short edge of the mat. Bring the left toes to point kind of inwards. Keeping both legs straight, we reach towards the right. And then just allow the right hand to come down to the thigh or shin. Inhale, lengthen, exhale, we open up the chest into our trikonasana or triangle pose. So we're going to move from triangle into that pyramid pose that we were just doing. So bring the torso round to a point, kind of to face down towards that right knit foot. Bring the torso up slightly so then you can bend, not bend, kind of hinge from the hips downwards. And then bring the hands behind. Lovely stuff. Pyramid pose. Bend that front knee. Come on to the tiptoes of the left foot and then bring that knee down to the mat. Everybody's in that direction, sorry. On an inhale, raise the arms overhead. Maybe on tuck the toes. The back toes, that is. Inhale, lengthen through the spine, gaze the thumbs. And if you can, if it feels good on the back, try to take the hands overhead and spine. And we do that by kind of lifting up. We inhale, we lengthen through the spine before we even attempt to take those hands back. Crescent lunge. Very good. On an exhale, bring hands down to heart center. Bring the hands to the mat and come into a side squat. So we're pivoting onto the heel of that left foot, coming up onto the toes of the right foot. Not expecting heels to come down in this one because that's very difficult. 11. Oh, that feels good. Not on the thingy. And walk the hands over through the middle, come back into the other side. Lift the right toes up. It's a good stretch. I like this one. Or not. No. Yeah. Lovely. So we're going to do the same thing, but in reverse. So watch me forget what we've done. Walk the hands around towards the left foot. Bring the right knee onto the mat. Left ankle on the left knee. Inhale, raise the arms overhead. Bring the hands together. If they want to, obviously you can keep them shoulder distance apart. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. Gaze hands. Take the hands back ever so slightly if you wish to. Get a bit of a back bend in. Don't forget to breathe. Good stuff. And then exhale, bring the hands down. We're going to move it into our pyramid pose. So tuck those back toes. Come up. So your right foot comes onto the floor. Left leg is straight. Swing the arms forward, around and back. Hands in prayer position or grab the elbows. Exhale, fold forward. And if you've got one leg that is super tight, out. Trying to keep that front leg as straight as it wants to go. Excellent stuff. So keeping the arms where they are, just turn the torso to kind of face the long edge of the mat. So this is what we're trying to achieve in triangle pose, a nice open chest. From here, Take the left arm down, right arm up. Keeping that front leg straight. I haven't. Whoops. Triangle. Excellent. I'm like Mr. Burns when I say that. Firing on the core muscles. Lift all the way up into star pose, taking both feet out to face corners of the mat. Lovely. It's fine, doesn't matter which way you're facing. And then we're going to bend the knees, come into goddess, bend the arms, cactus arms. You're going to hate goddess by the end of the day. And then on an inhale, bring both feet together, bring the arms overhead, stretch towards the other side. So I think we went right, so we'll go left this time. Inhale, come back up. And exhale, hands come down to Moon Salutation. It is good. It's not as slick as some salutations, but it's good. It stretches everywhere. And actually it's quite a nice one to kind of wind down with, because sun salutations definitely get you warm and hot and energized, whereas that actually feels a little bit more calming, doesn't it? So we'll go through that one more time. So yeah, face the long edge of the mat. Doesn't matter which way. Feet hip distance apart. Hands to position. Inhale, sit the arms overhead. Right, let's go the left way. Inhale, right up. Exhale, take the stretch towards the left. And then what do we do? Oh my God. And then exhale, come into goddess pose. So take a wide stance on the yoga mat. Toes pointing outwards, knees bent. You can see the big toe on the knee, arms at cactus arms. Lovely. Won't stay here long because thighs are probably giving up the ghost in a minute, aren't they? Inhale, come into star. Lovely. And then we're going to go into triangle on the left hand side. So point the left toes towards the short edge of the mat. Pivot on the right heel and bring those toes in ever so slightly. Keeping the arms at shoulder height. Reach towards the left. And then just allow the left arm to come down towards the thigh or shin. Keeping the chest nice and open. So inhaling, lengthening through the spine, exhaling, opening up. And just kind of trying to get those shoulders in line with each other. And also as if you're leaning into a wall behind you. Some yoga teachers will say as if you're trying to kind of, as if you've got kind of two sheets of glass either side of you, you want to kind of be able to fit into that. I don't really know. So keeping the chest open, bring the hands behind the back, and then take the torso to face the left foot, and then bend, folding from the hips. Keeping that front leg as straight as it wants to go. Avoiding rounding through the back. Lovely. Breathe. Don't forget to breathe. From here, come on to the toes on the right foot. Bend that knee all the way down to the floor. On top of toes. Unclasp the hands, bring hands overhead. Lovely. Making sure that front knee's over the ankle. Sinking down into hips if you wish to. Inhale, lengthen up through the spine. And then exhale. Just come to rest. Take a few deep breaths here. And exhale. Hands come down to the floor. And we come into that really nice little side squat. So straighten the right leg, come onto the heel of the right foot, and come on either side of that left leg, whatever's comfortable. Now I've got the toes flexed up towards, and that is what gives you the biggest stretch. So you can have the right toes pointed, but it probably makes it more uncomfortable. Feeling good? Silence tells me that's a no. Walk the hands towards the other side. Bring the left heel to the floor, left toes up. Are you right? Lovely. Perfecto. Now we've got to do it all again. So take the hands around towards the right foot and come onto the left knee. Right knee over ankle. Bring the arms overhead. Coming into our present lunge, so inhaling, lengthening through the spine, exhaling, just coming into a comfortable position. Exhale, bring the hands down. So we're going to move into pyramid from here. It's probably easier to be able to kind of use your hands, tuck the back toes out. Bring the foot up, straighten the front leg. Swing the arms forward and around the back, clasping elbows or bring the hands to prayer position. And then folding forward once more into our pyramid pose. Keeping the front leg as straight as possible, just so we get a nice intense stretch. Keeping the arms where they are. Open the chest out towards the long edge of the mat. So we're coming into a bit of a twist to have the left shoulder pointing up towards the ceiling. And then from here, release the hands. So the right arm comes down towards the leg, left arm up. Triangle pose, Trikonasana. Lovely. Don't forget to breathe. Might help if you look down towards the right foot, push through the right foot, come up into star pose. So we're taking both feet out, point towards to the corners of the mat. Arms out. Makes you feel like a child, this one. It's like, look, mummy, look what I did. And then bend the knees into goddess pose. Bend the elbows. Palms facing forward. Lovely. Just stay here for a few breaths. Sink lower. I like it, especially when you realise you can sink lower and it's not going to kill you. Oh no, okay, you go. So if your thighs start to shake, bring the feet to prayer position, arms overhead. And we're going to exhale, stretch towards the right, the other way that we didn't go at the beginning. So, inhale, come back to center, and exhale. How's that? Feeling good? Cool, because I think. Yeah, you all right?
Yeah, we can't go in.
That's good. That is good. Means we're alive. So bring the hands to position heart center. Take the feet a little bit wider than hip distance. Inhale, sweep the arms overhead. Exhale, fold. Bend the knees, hinge at the hips. Allow the arms to hang loose. Allow the head to hang loose. Coming into ragdoll pose. So you want to grab elbows, grab elbows. Just allow everything just to relax out. Bring the body into some stillness. You might want to sway either side. You might want to do little pulses. Find what feels good, just to lengthen the spine out. Give the body some love. Seems it is also Valentine's week, I suppose. And then slowly make your way down onto the knees. Feet together, knees mat distance apart, hips to heels, or hands forward and come down into child's pose. Taking some nice deep breaths here. Breathing into the back. Hopefully feeling the heartbeat coming to more of a resting beat. Walk the hands back up, coming up to kneeling. We're going to take it into Shavasana or relaxation. So now warmer clothing, hot on, because we'll be lying down for about 10 minutes at least. So yeah, make yourself warm. Back to Shavasana. It's obviously lying down. If it's more comfortable for the lower back, have the knees tented, so feet flat on the floor, knees bent. Otherwise, in Shavasana, our feet are at least hip distance apart and they're relaxing out either side. Arms are away from the body, arms facing up. Holding the head in line with the spine. Maybe tucking the chin ever so slightly. And then taking a soft gaze or closing the eyes completely. And bring your attention to the breath. And take a few deep breaths in through the nose and sigh it out through the mouth, if you wish to. And allow the breath to return to normal. Starting to allow the body to relax, noticing the points of the body in contact with the floor beneath, with the surface beneath us, and allowing the body to relax into that surface. And as we start to relax, we might notice, we might do a scan through the body, noticing any other areas of tension. Noticing the points of the body touching the surface beneath us. You might notice an overriding feeling or emotion that goes based at all. Don't worry if not. We just notice without judgment. As ever in yoga, we notice as an observer.
no judgment, no expectation. If we're watching traffic passing by. And bringing your attention back to the breath without changing anything about how you're breathing. Just continue to focus on the breath. And with your awareness, focusing on the breath, start to count each breath. You can either count each inhale and exhale. Breathing in is 1, out 2, in 3, out 4, and so on, up to 10, before returning again to 1. Or you can count each breath out, inhaling and then exhaling. Counts as 1, inhale, exhale, 2, again, counting up to 10. Find which counting method works best for you and focus on that counting method. Counting all the way to 10 before starting again at 1. Don't worry if you don't reach 10, if you become distracted. Start again where you left off. If you don't remember, start again at 1. Don't worry about why you got distracted. Our job is to notice without judgment and to guide the awareness back to the breath, back to the counting. Keep focusing on your breathing and the counting. Breathing, counting, relaxing. Sometimes the mind will want to think a lot. Other times it will focus easily. Doesn't matter either way. Just notice when your mind has wandered and gently guide it back to the breathing, back to the counting. Allow yourself to relax deeper with each breath, with each count. Thoughts, feelings can and will arise. You just let them go, coming back to the breath. Now releasing the focus, allow the mind to do whatever it wants to do. Enjoy the stillness for a moment longer. Notice how you feel now, how the body feels. Relaxed. And how does the mind feel? Calmer, quieter, or maybe even more refreshed. Notice how it feels to be relaxed. Enjoy. Then bring your awareness to sounds outside of the room, to sounds within the room. And bring your awareness into the body, starting to make gentle movements with your fingers, your toes, and even moving the head from side to side to release the neck. You might want to take the arms overhead and take a full body stretch. Before bringing the knees in towards the chest, giving them a good hug. Rock from side to side. Or coming to rest on your right hand side. Using your left hand, bring yourselves up to seated. Bring the hands to best position at heart center once you're settled. On an inhale, sweep the hands overhead. And exhale, hands come down to heart center, bowing slightly forward. Just thanking yourselves for this time, for getting through the moon salutations. And I thank you for sharing the practice. Are you cold?
Yeah.